you're getting better all the time, and turning all against one is an art that's hard to teach. Another clever word sets off an unsuspecting herd, and as you step...
Alright, hey guys, this is SmartyPan from GurubashiProductions, and right now I'm going to be doing a quick DPS guide for a Demonology Warlock. So just so you know, this is my first commentary, so I'll probably stutter a lot, so bear with me. Okay, let's get started. First of all, obviously, want the Demonology spec, and you're going to want to take Dark Arts for your Felguard's Legion Strike. And then both of these talents are basically PvP talents, but I'll just take Demonic Embrace just for extra survivability. And then you're going to want to take Mana Feed for that extra mana regen. And then again, a lot of these are just PvP talents. So I guess I'll just take that one right there. Okay. You're going to want Impending Doom so you can keep up Metamorphosis a lot longer. Health Funnel isn't really that great. But Demonic Empowerment is actually not good at all for Felguard. So I guess I'll take Demonic Rebirth in case your Felguard dies. Hand of Gul'dan is a big damage giver, and you're also going to want to take Molten Core, which is really good. It's a big source of damage. And then I guess I'll just take Demonic Empowerment. And then Inferno doesn't really do much, but you really want this. You actually want both of these. They both have two different effects, but you want one from each. So you're going to take Inferno, and then Decimation is a big one as well. I'll talk about that later, I guess. And then I have 2 extra points, so I'll just put it in this. Cremation is really good because that way you don't ever have to recast ML8. You can just get it back up with Hand of Gul'dan. Demonic Pact is also huge for the extra spell power bonus. And then again, we have 2 leftover points. So I'll just put it in Fel Synergy. And then obviously Metamorphosis. Now as for secondary talents, there are different views on this. But since Shadow Bolt is your main damage doer, I'm going to go Destruction. So you want Shadow and Flame. You're going to want Improved ML8 because ML8 does a lot of damage. And then you're going to take Bane and Emberstorm. So those are all your talents. I'm going to go ahead and learn that. Now as far as glyphs go, for prime glyphs, there are only 3 demonology glyphs that are actually really good. So you're going to want Glyph of Felguard, extra damage. Glyph of ML8, like I said, ML8 is your second highest damage, I believe. And then Metamorphosis for extra time. And as far as major glyphs go, there are a lot of really good major glyphs when it comes to PvP, but only a few for PvE. And this is my main PvP spec, and I'm doing a lot with respecking and all that stuff, so I don't have the PvE glyphs for major. But you're going to want to go Shadow Bolt, and Life Tap are probably your main ones. And maybe Soul Link. And minor glyphs don't really matter. They all suck. Okay, so that's it for talents and glyphs. Now I'm going to talk about the rotation. The rotation is fairly simple once you get the hang of it. You're going to want to go with Fel Armor, and then you're going to have Demonic Pact up as well. So, going to have Recount up, and you're also going to want Dark Intent. For this, I'm just going to put it on my Felguard, but usually you want to have it on a healer when you're in a raid. So as far as the rotation goes, you're going to want to open up with all your dots. I like casting Curse of the Elements first, then ML8, and then I use Bane of Doom and Corruption. A lot of people want to use Bane of Agony, but I've tested this multiple times, and Bane of Doom just does incredible amounts of damage, and a lot more than Bane of Agony, sorry, ever does. And when you set up rotations like this, macros are really good to have. Like I have a macro that casts all my dots in a row. Yeah, so I'm just going to start with the rotation. You're going to want to do all your dots, and then you're going to cast Hand of Gul'dan. And then after that, you're just going to spam Shadow Bolt. And whenever Hand of Gul'dan is up, you're going to cast that, and then whenever one of your dots drops off, you're going to cast that as well. And then we got that Molten Core proc, so whenever that pops up, you're going to cast 3 Incinerates, and then go back to your regular Shadow Bolt spam. Like another thing, when you're in an actual raid or dungeon, whenever Decimation pops up, you're going to switch to Soulfire for your main spam spell, because the cast time is reduced by 40%, and that's a lot. And as far as Metamorphosis goes, basically just cast it when you open, and then whenever it's on cooldown. I also have a burst macro which casts all my cooldowns at the same time, basically. Another thing you want to worry about with rotation is Shadow Flame. It does a lot of damage, but that's only if you're in melee range, so if the raid doesn't allow it, then don't cast it, and you're not going to lose that much DPS. Okay, so I'm going to start with the rotation. Open with Curse of Elements, Immolate, Bane of Doom, Corruption, Metamorphosis, Demon Soul. You want to use Soulburn for the instant Soulfire. Cast Shadow Flame, Hand of Gul'dan, and then just spam Shadow Bolt. And then you can throw in a Fellstorm in there if you want. And my Corruption's about to drop off, so you just do that. Put that back up, and then again, Hand of Gul'dan and Shadow Flame you want to cast on cooldown, so whenever they're available. So after this rotation, I'm not going to go for very long. My cooldowns just wore off, so I'll go for a little bit longer. I'll go until my Bane of Doom drops off, so I'll have done it for a minute. Yeah, so whenever you're... I don't know if Molten Core is going to proc, but whenever you hit something that's below 25%, then you'll just switch to Soulfire. And that's basically it. I pulled about 15k, which I had the multiple targets on there for certain things, but I mean, you're usually going to do like around, I would say maybe 13 or 14k without the multiple targets on there. But your main damage is going to be Shadow Bolt. Your second highest is going to be, there you go, the Immolation Aura, and then Immolate your dot, and then from there it just goes down. But yeah, so you want the Shadow Bolt to be glyphed and talented and all that stuff. So that was pretty good. I'm in PvP gear right now, so it was alright. The last thing I want to talk about really briefly is stat priorities when it comes to reforging and all that sort of thing. Obviously, you're going to want the hit cap, which is 17%, I believe, for raid bosses. And didn't really help me out because I had to cast Corruption multiple times during the test, if you didn't notice. But once your hit is capped, you're going to want, obviously, as much intellect as possible, and then after that, reforge everything to haste. Haste is your biggest stat that you want next to hit. So that's it. That's the basic DPS guide. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to post or whatever. And yeah, thanks.